special treat for you guys today. We're here at Goolwa in South Australia, and we're here primarily for the heritage steam train, otherwise known as the Cockle Train.
And here's an image of the Cockle Train arriving in Victor Harbour, of the variety known by South Australians as the Red Hens, which ran for a very long time up and down the suburban track routes, and I remember them as a kid. Hot, sticky, horrible little things, but yes, no steam train this time around, unfortunately, rather a diesel train, but still very much nostalgic as you see it pulling into the station here. Yeah, it's very similar to the Red Rattlers in Sydney, except of course it's not electric powered, it's diesel powered, and this certainly brings back memories for me. As here it is arriving at the station, and we'll have a look inside in a moment. But before we do have a look inside, I want the guard to introduce to you the Cockle Train. So here he is.
Welcome to the Cockle Train. Probably you'll hear this on board, but the Cockle Train was named basically because of the fact it carried cockles from Goolwa to Victor Harbour. It started out as a passenger service. It is the oldest working railway in Australia. It's completely staffed by volunteers. There are some paid members, but what we have in common is we all really love it. I mean, because who doesn't love playing trains?
Exactly.
And we only have good people on board.
Oh, thank you.
Like the handsome man behind the camera.
He didn't tell you he's blind. Oh, wonderful, thank you.
Is if you are a historian / railway enthusiast, the Steam Ranger provides excellent pamphlet. Here's one on the Red Hen rail cars. This comes when you get your ticket, and it's lots of information here, that much too much to go through, but there's a history of the Red Hen rail cars, a welcome aboard and a history on the line, and over the page a map of where the train goes, plus also details about each of the stops. Now the guard was a lot of fun, as you could already tell. Spent a lot of time chatting with us, and when I say us, it's my Auntie Marianne there, my brother Andrew, and lots of scenic sights along the way, as you can tell. It's magnificent, and you may even catch a glimpse of my Uncle Rob and Auntie Vicky there as well. So there's a whole family on my mother's side, but the view is fantastic out the windows and both sides. Definitely worth it, aside from just being on a historic train, just looking at the bits and pieces going past, and of course the friendly guard. So yeah, enjoy the scene as we go along, and I just want to give you a bit of history as we do. Now this started at Goolwa and passed through Middleton and Port Elliot on its way to Victor Harbour. Now you'll have a look at the classic roof there. These Red Hens were built from 1955 through to 1971, and obviously ran the Adelaide railway routes, as I've already mentioned, right up until, in fact, 1996, when they were removed from service. So, yeah, as I said earlier, I remember these quite clearly. They were built and designed in the Islington Railworks in Adelaide itself, so they are fully South Australian. And one of the things you know that I'm interested in is wall art, mural art, and there's a lovely example of it just along the railway line there as we're pulling in. I think this is Middleton, if I remember rightly, just going through here now.
We're just passing over Basham Beach Road now, and out here on the left is actually Basham Beach. Normally a whale watching spot, which is any time between now and the end of November. And down the end of Basham Beach Road there is a lookout thing there. We can go down the pines, test your luck to see if any whales come through and rest.
Now for a large part of the journey we did follow the coast, so this was the view we got. mixture of farmland, country town, the odd farmhouse, etc., but mostly just wonderful views across the ocean.
Very shortly, folks, we'll be arriving in Port Elliot Station. The station here is manned by volunteers of the National Trust. They maintain the station and sell tickets and souvenirs on behalf of Steam Ranger. And in the green shed on the platform, whenever the station is open, there's a display of early transport history of the area. So next stop, folks, Port Elliot. If you are leaving us here, if you can be ready to alight when we stop, please be greatly appreciated. And please just mind the gap between the cars and the platform.
So here we are, as the announcer said, arriving in Port Elliot. There's lots of history in this little township, as you can tell just by looking down that street. And here's a lovely parklands. The railway station is very well kept, and as you'll see in a minute on the other side here, typical of the old country railway lines. And we're pulling into it now. You could have hopped on or hopped off at this point, so you can actually get on and off along the way. But even in Goolwa and Victor Harbour, there's so much to see anyway that you probably won't have time to stop off at Port Elliot. But there we go. Stay tuned for a bit more history of the Cockle Railway as we take the rest of the journey on to Victor Harbour.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're just reaching the highest point of the track, and we'll soon be cruising down into Victor Harbour. Looking out the left-hand side, we're just coming from past Boomers Beach. We'll go past Watson's Gap, and then past Kite Rocks before we arrive into Victor Harbour. For those who are leaving us here in Victor Harbour, on behalf of Steam Ranger and all of the volunteers, we thank you very much for your patronage today. For those who are returning to Port Elliot, Middleton and Goolwa, the next train departs Victor Harbour at 1:30 and the last train departs at 3:45. That it will be the last train. If you miss that train, it's a long walk back to Goolwa. We ask that for those who are returning to be back on the platform approximately 10 minutes before departure. So next stop, Victor Harbour. Thank you.
As you watch the beautiful scenery go past, I'll just give you a bit of an outline about the history of the railway line. This is South Australia's first venture into railways, and it began with the opening of the Goolwa to Port Elliot railway line in 1854. As well as being the first line in the colony, the section was also the first public line laid with iron rails in Australia. The line was constructed to provide an outlet for the River Murray trade of the 19th century, although this role diminished following the extension of the more direct line from Adelaide through Kapunda to Morgan. The original line headed directly inland from the jetty at Goolwa and travelled through the centre of the township towards Port Elliot. The present loop was built later. The construction included a jetty and a breakwater at Port Elliot and a deep railway cutting to run the line out onto the Port Elliot jetty. Unfortunately, it soon became apparent that Port Elliot was a bad choice for the harbour. A lack of shelter for shipping and the shallow anchorage made the conditions rather dangerous, even to the smallest ships. 7 ships were wrecked between 1853 and 1864, and it was decided to relocate the port facilities to nearby Victor Harbour. The extension was opened for traffic in April 1864. The Port Elliot facilities were abandoned following the completion of the line to Victor Harbour. The railway was extended northwards to Strathalbyn in 1869 by means of a line from Middleton, but it was not until 1884 that the line from Adelaide reached Strathalbyn and through travel was possible to the capital. Horses provided traction power until steam was introduced in 1884. 2 horses often worked coupled together and were changed as necessary at intermediate stations. In 1875, records showed the railway operated 29 horses travelling 7,000 miles a month.
a typical working life was 14 years. So I'll just let you enjoy the sights and sounds coming into Victor Harbour as we are right now, about to cross the bridge into the main entrance. There we go. And there's quite a lot to see as we go along, so I hope you enjoy the last part of this journey as we head into this central area of Victor Harbour, where I'll have some more footage for you. Now in the background you can see Granite Island just stretching out there, and we're looking at the palm trees on the foreshore now, the pine trees. Very famous area, and we're nearly there actually, so I hope you enjoyed the ride on the steam train as we pull into the main central area where you'll find the Whale Museum. There'll be lots of facilities, toilets, several museums, as well as of course the famous horse-drawn tram, which is I'm going to actually went on and I'm going to show you that very, very soon, so stay tuned for the horse-drawn tram in a future episode. We've just got a little bit further to go till we pull into the station. There we go, we're just passing a couple of buildings here and we should be nearly there. Lots of modern development here, lots of retirees heading down. It's a lovely holiday spot, and everything you want from a small town in terms of facilities, and a lot to see, as you can tell. Very beautiful area with a lot of history. So we're just going to pull across the crossing here, and this is one of the car parks, of course, for the area. I believe this is Robinson's Crossing, which is named after a relative of ours, if I remember rightly. Yeah, so there you go, we've got history in this area. My father grew up down here, yeah, and my great-grandfather, I believe it was, helped construct the original jetty out to Granite Island. And as I said, the horse-drawn trams and everything, all very fascinating, and we'll come to that very, very soon. Here we are pulling into the station. We're not far away at all now. As I said, lots of historic buildings. You could just walk up and down the street admiring the architecture if you love that sort of thing, which I certainly do. And here we are at the station, just pulling up now.
Let's go.
This is what the railway line looked like from the passenger side and from the outside looking in. And there's also a historic plaque here which reads as follows: Victor Harbour Railway Station, built in 1925. This railway station is unique in being the only one of its design in South Australia.
Construction was authorised under the Railway Rehabilitation Scheme of the Commissioner W.A. Webb, and the building remains as a tribute to his vision. And another plaque commemorating the restoration project of the station, which finished in April 2000. So here we are going through the train station, and there's plenty to see here, but we didn't really spend too much time because we had other things on our mind. Namely, we wanted to go and get some lunch. So we decided to head towards the main street. And on the way we saw lots and lots of buildings and architecture and interesting bits and pieces. I'm not going to talk too much about it, I'll just let you enjoy our little journey to the main street.
I did see on the news they did see some whales a couple of days ago. Yeah, down here in Victor. Yeah, down here in Victor. Yeah.
They're early.
Very early, yeah.
Oh, I'll give you the map. You can have a look.
So we're just trying to get our bearings here, work out where we are.
Okay, we just...
Okay, which way are we going?
Head straight through. Okay. So, do you want the whale watching?
Not right now, no, not right now, but maybe later.
I mean, I could give it to Andrew.
Oh yeah, put it in the backpack maybe, but not right now, when we stop for lunch or something.
I'll stop for lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just going down here, and we worked out the quickest way to the main street was down the laneway here. So that's where we went, between all the buildings. Now, one thing I noticed about Victor Harbour was two things. First of all, the amount of old buildings everywhere, which was fantastic, but also the amount of new development. And I think they've done very clever. As you'll see here, they've combined the old and the new almost seamlessly. So it doesn't look out of place at all. And so even walking down this laneway, you can see combinations of old and new in terms of housing and buildings.
So, office downstairs and living upstairs. Yes. Look at that lovely old building on the left.
Here's a classic example where you've got some new building attached to a very old building. And I got quite interested actually. I was walking right past it and decided, no, I'm not going to be a sticky beak. I'll just walk right past. And I nearly got to the end and turned around. And what should I notice? But my auntie's having a bit of a sticky beak, so I thought, oh, I should probably have a bit of a look as well. And you could see they were doing it up, and it was quite nice inside, or will be when they're finished. Anyway, on to our main business, order of business, which of course was getting something to eat.
There's your fish shop. Okay. There's your... Okay. And it's Subway on...
Just too many places to go, so we weren't sure which way to head. And the map wasn't actually much help in the end, although we do end up going to that park there in the bottom corner.
Name your poison.
Yeah, the top there, see?
Yeah.
Up there.
So in the end, this is where we had our lunch. We had fish and chips here. It was about where we got out at the laneway. It wasn't that far away. So yeah, it was really nice. Seagulls came and enjoyed it as well, as they do. And then after that, we went for a bit of a walk.
Okay, so here we are in one of the central areas of Victor Harbour. And I thought I'll get the camera out here. Aside from the excellent houses and so on, this is called the Warland Reserve. Albert Warland, 1873 to 1960. And here is the magnificent fountain here, whale tail, and some ducks making excellent use of having a shower. And well, they were having a shower earlier, and then now they're just drying themselves off. And this is, of course, heading out towards the causeway to go across the Granite Island. We're not going to do that today, we'll do that a bit later on in the week. But yeah, but I thought I would just take an opportunity to show you the park.
So that'll be it for this video, showing you the Cockle Train and a little bit of Victor Harbour. We spent a couple of days in Victor Harbour, so there's lots more to show you in up and coming videos, including the horse-drawn tram, which we went across to Granite Island in a later episode.